Yeah, Cole, go ahead.
I'm not satisfied here. This is a big moment for the two of them, and we can't screw it up.
Yeah.
And like, we both have to be 100% sold here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about it. We're here. Today's the day. Today's the day.
Today is make or break day. If we can't figure out last week's problems, this could be the end of the writer's room. That'll look good on like a promotional thing, really amp up the tension.
Yeah, but you don't want to promise that, right? Like, you don't want to... Okay.
It will be the end of the writer's room.
It will be the end of the writer's room.
If we can't figure this out.
I'll still
like,
do
dun,
stuff
dun,
like
dun.
on the side, though, if y'all don't, want to. Like, we can still hang out.
Yeah, it'll be the end of the writer's room, but make sure to come next week when we continue doing another thing.
Yeah.
Folks, another peek behind the curtain. This is the next day. We recorded the previous episode yesterday.
Yep.
And I was not happy. I was not happy with how things were going, and the writer's block that we had at the end of the last episode, trying to figure out this emotional thing with the Coyote and Janier. So, while Cole fucked off and did I don't know what, I went back to the drawing board. I went back to the lab.
I showered.
I don't know. Oh, he showered. While he was showering, I was doing things.
I took care of myself.
And that is very important. Self-care is important, guys. But I was doing things. Look at what I wrote things on a piece of paper.
Look at this boomer who wrote things on a piece of paper.
I wrote on paper. Not very nice to my developing carpal tunnel. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Can't really do that shit. But we got some things on paper. I don't know, honestly, I really don't know how Cole is going to react to this, because I did not tell him anything beforehand.
Correct.
I just told him, we're recording tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you everything. But my hope is that these, I would go ahead and say, pretty minor shifts in the story can help unlock a lot of things. Cole, why don't you remind our audiences what the trouble was in our previous episode, where we were. We were in a bad way at the end of the last episode. Can you maybe share do a bit of recap what that was?
We were dealing with essentially the darkest point of our story, which is essentially these two kind of having their darkest kind of moments, and they're kind of at odds with each other. Janier and the Coyote the Coyote has no reason to break trust with Janier, but Janier doesn't trust him. But Coyote is he's done with life at this point. Everybody he has ever known has lied to. It feels like it's a lie. But we were debating on how this initial reaction moment should go. With Janier and the Coyote trying to kind of figure out, does Janier want to do, like what gets her to forgive the Coyote, and what gets the Coyote over this lack of motivation to continue in life. so that we can kind of keep them continuing on in our story. And Braydan came up with 2 different ideas, and I added on to one of them, and then at about 10 or 11 p.m. last night, bro was like, I figured it out.
Yeah, it's like insert my face over the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" meme with Charlie and the Pennsylvania behind him. Like, that's how it was.
Yeah.
I was poring over some of these ideas, and I think I figured it out. So I'm gonna do another shout out to a really cool SCAD writing professor, Matt Black. Shout out to Professor Matt Black. Producer on a horror film but I won't name drop because gatekeeping that shit. He's a very talented guy, but some of the things that I remember him saying as I poured over my feature film notes is that the emotional catharsis that we feel is supposed to be tied to character arc. And every scene is either a build-up or release of tension, usually having some sort of connection to the character arc. That's what gets us as an audience so invested into a character. That way, when something happens to them, we really feel for it. And then in progressing and having it so tied to the character, we're able to believe everything they do subsequently. That really ties everything together. The character arc and the plot are molded together. I was watching a playthrough. I know I don't have the money to go out and buy my own games, so sometimes I watch people play games. And there is a video game called A Way Out. Cole, are you familiar with this 2018 video game? A Way Out?
I have not played this game, but yes, I have heard of it.
Okay, because what I'm going to say kind of really gets into the spoilers of the ending. So I'm not going to say it, but if anyone who's played the game is familiar, you maybe kind of understand what I'm talking about. The ending is so emotionally charged because we've spent, 6 or 5 hours previously growing with these characters and coming to understand their perspective, so that way, whatever this thing happens at the end that is just kind of crazy, you really start to feel for it, and you believe every action the character takes in reaction to that plot beat, because we know who they are. We've seen them in all these other circumstances. So, all that to say is I think an ugly head is rearing here that we have mentioned before in previous episodes, but have not addressed. It's because Jeon-Ye, our protagonist, I don't think she has a character arc. As the film currently stands, I don't think she has a character arc. I don't think there's much emotional progression for her as the current plot stands. She seems to be a vessel of reaction for the coyote. That, I think, is the thing that needs to be tweaked. We need to make sure Jeon-Ye's character arc, either she has one, or the thing that's underneath the surface, which I think it's just bubbling underneath the surface. We need to bring it out. So, let me go over some of these things I wrote down. Okay. First of all, general things. I think we're pretty on the same page about the Coyote's character arc. I think the Coyote right now is pretty solid as far as his progression.
Yes.
He, I don't know.
No, I'm just waiting what's about to happen here.
You're waiting for the bullshit to happen? Yeah.
Well,
get ready.
Okay.
No, it's not bullshit. I think.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be. I'm just waiting.
The Coyote, is trying to find his upright moral code. He starts off pretty amoral. He's kind of a cold dude, pretty almost stereotypical gunslinger type guy. He's killing monsters for the thrill of the game because he's that's how he's been raised, and he's in this monster hunting cult that he comes to find out is a lot more evil than he was led to believe. So he gets lost. He kind of gets in such a down way that he's ready to just call it quits entirely until something brings him back out of his rut, and he is able to turn all of that grief into a way to help bring change for Jeonye. And then I think the assumption would be, if there was a sequel, that he would probably be a counter-revolutionary against these monster hunting cults. At least that's what I think his arc is in a sequel, is that he's kind of become the anti-monster hunter cult. Like, he's going after those guys to save the monsters, save nature, make sure life is balanced, all that yakety-do stuff. That's pretty in stone. That's pretty solid, I think. Jeonye, let me ask you, Cole, right now, not saying what we want, not saying what we were intending, but haven't like sketched out. As it stands, if you're reading this beat sheet, what is Jeonye's character arc? This isn't supposed to be a gotcha question.
Yeah, well, the only character arc she has is this turning into a monster thing. She has literally nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. There's no really emotional growth going on here, because she is acting as a mirror board basically for the Coyote's arc. All of his things is kind of just being bounced off of her.
Yep.
That's the problem. That's why this emotional thing that we have going on here, it doesn't feel right, because, I mean, we feel for the Coyote's perspective, like everything he's lived is a lie, and he's just had his brother turn against him. But Jeonye hasn't had anything emotional happen to her. She hasn't had any true, like,
God damn it!
And it's okay. I'm saying all this. No, let me say a couple things before I continue. Number one, it's okay. Now, if you're a writer out there and you've ever stumbled upon a problem like this, where you've kind of maybe ignored an issue for too long, that it kind of fucks up everything, it's okay. The beautiful thing about writing is that if you're writing on pencil and paper, there's an eraser. And if you're writing on a keyboard, there is a backspace. It is never too late to go back and address every issue and making sure everything fits together. Because if you ignore it, it's just, like, imagine if we hadn't done anything and we went to the script and we realized that it's not working. And it still wouldn't be too late, because we could still go back, but it's a lot better to catch it early. So if you don't feel comfortable with something, go ahead and make a change in your story. It doesn't reflect poorly on you as a writer. Actually, I would argue the opposite. Having the wherewithal and drive to go make a change shows that you are a good writer and you're very concerned about how things are going. So, which kind of brings me to my second point. I don't think it reflects poorly on us as writers that we are finding ourselves in a predicament like this. I think this is just natural writing process. I mean, this happens, I cannot tell you, all the time. Literally all the time, where you realize a problem has kind of been shoved under the rug. If it makes you feel any better, Cole, I can tell you a little story about a feature where an issue like this happened to me, and I got a little embarrassed. Would that make you feel better?
I think what's happening to me right now is I'm going through what you realized last night.
Yeah.
Is that you were like, oh, fuck.
It's like
we
5
fucked
stages
up.
of grief.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, God damn it, we gotta go all the way back. Because I like to...
No.
We
I don't
do,
think
though.
all the way back.
Well, I think we have to go back to at least your Yulee Town.
Yeah. We're going to get to this, which is my list of suggested changes. We're going to get to that. Don't worry.
It's being burned to the ground again.
No, it's not. I can assure you it's not. You want me to give a quick little story time while you feel things?
That's fine,
right.
Yeah.
Folks, in this feature writing class, which is which was my first time writing a feature film in a setting like this, because the only one I'd wrote before was just for my personal thing and having fun. I chose to write a very personal story that was taking inspiration from stories from my life and my dad's life and my grandfather's life. It was very heavy for me because Cole could probably attest to this. I've never really written something so personal before. I'm very much in the sphere of surreal worlds that are unnatural but kind of reflect things that are happening in the real world, but very distant from my own life is how I write. And I kind of just bring my own things into it. But taking something that's literally where the protagonist is based on my dad was a big stretch for me, and especially in a setting like that in a classroom where all the people can judge was a big step. So I did all the beat sheet shit. I wrote about half through the script, about page 45 of a 100-page script. And we go to the class to present this. And basically it's like, here is my best interpretation, or my best cinematic interpretation of a life story of a bunch of fucked up family members. And whatever you say is gonna reflect on my disposition. And it was not pretty. It was rough. It was probably the worst moment I've ever had as a writer. It made me think about wanting to quit. I'm not gonna say everything they said because a lot of it was valid criticism, and I took it and I ran with it. But one of the things that I think will always stick with me is a classmate raised his hand to give his thoughts on my script, and he said, I don't connect with the protagonist who was based on my father, based on my dad. I don't connect with the protagonist. I don't want to root for him because the way he's written makes him seem like a pedophile. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. That's very rough, yeah. The way that he interacted with his daughter character, which was based on my sister and had elements of my own personality infused in that character, made me feel like it was a weird, like, predator relationship. That's not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear that. No. First of all, that couldn't be farther from the truth. That's not true. Second of all, that's not how I wanted to write it. So that's a crash and burn. That is an earnest crash and burn where and then the professor was like, well, how many people agree with that? At least half the class raised their hands. So it wasn't just one person that thought that. Oh my God, my heart broke. Oh, it was so embarrassing. I wanted to run out of the classroom because that's just like, oh my God, that's terrible. But I was able to get emotional about it for a day or two, which is fine. It's okay. You present yourself, you put yourself out there, and it doesn't get received the way you want. It's okay to feel that emotionally. That just shows me that you really care about what you're doing. And I think a lot of writers can relate to that and respect that. But don't stay that way. And I didn't. And I was able to kind of tweak some things around. You go ask friends and other things like, hey, what do you think I need to do? You go talk to someone like a professor or a really talented writer friend, it's like, hey, what's not working? And I was able to come out with a full script that I feel was able to kind of remove those stigmas. And then after I finished writing the entire script and I presented it, that same kid who said that initial criticism was like, yeah, I'm not gonna say he didn't say I love and this is the greatest thing ever, because there's still work to be done on that script. But he was like, I can see a real big change. And I could see you took the notes that I gave and was able to complete them, and what I read I really enjoyed, that's improvement. So these things happen all the time, and I'm sure if you're a writer and you're watching this, let us know in the comments a similar story, and let's all connect as writers who maybe miss the ball sometimes. Because we're not gonna be one of those guys that like, oh shit, let's cut that. and make sure nobody sees that. Let's bury it under the sun, all of our mistakes and missteps, because that's what writers are. We make mistakes, but we're able to kind of circumvent. Yeah. Anyways, with that story now setting the flavor for my previous missteps, Jeonye, we can agree, at this current state, doesn't have a character arc. There is no emotional journey for her in the current state of the beat sheet, which is okay. So, my thoughts were, okay, if she doesn't have one, what should it be? I mean, we're the masters of this universe. We can change things, but what do we want her character arc to be? And my first thought was, oh, she's a former assassin, thief from Asia. I don't know if we specified which country. Did we? Was it China specifically?
Yeah.
Or Japan? China.
It was China. Yeah.
She's an assassin, so she's got skeletons in her closet. She has to confront those, which is valid. But I think it's too similar to the Coyotes because he is actively facing his skeletons, whereas all of that stuff happened to Jeonye in the past before the story begins. But I do think that reflects what her arc will be because of her previous traumas. All that baggage she's carrying into this story is going to affect what I believe her character arc truly is. Cole, have you ever seen the 2019 film The Lighthouse?
I want to see that, but no.
The Lighthouse is one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorite movies from like this kind of like 21st century era of films. Lighthouse 2019, Robert Eggers with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. If you haven't seen it and you don't get queasy about like horror stuff, I couldn't recommend it enough. Just a quick premise. It's about two lighthouse keepers in the 18th century who are kind of stuck on this island together, and they slowly kind of succumb to their own madness of being stranded and lying to each other, and all of the weird things happening around the island that kind of force them to come into odds with each other at points. And there's also some like erotic tension. Ooh. But that gets a bit more into the complex criticism that we don't have time to get into. Watch that movie. Which got me thinking. The arc of Robert Pattinson's character, Thomas Wake, it's his character is Ephraim. Willem Dafoe's is Wake. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The act of succumbing to your own paranoia, that, I think, is Jeonye's arc, which could be externalized in her slowly being infected by her monster disease. Also, as she is a former thief and assassin, I believe part of a smaller secondary arc could be like sacrificing personal gain for communal benefits. I think inherently she kind of has to be a selfish character because her entire want is, I want to be cured from being a monster infected person. Kind of. That might be a bit of a generalization, but it's not inherently incorrect. Kind of. But these other notes that I have on this sheet, we need to make sure that Jeonye is our protagonist and Coyote is our, what some writers refer to as a deuteragonist, which is a character of big importance to the plot, but secondary to emotional connections, specifically for the audience. Whereas we want to give Jeonye more plot momentum and maybe take a little bit away from the Coyote because he does kind of take a little bit too much of the big beats. We want to make sure that we have Jeonye controlling her own destiny. I kind of want to remove some of these elements of the Coyote repeatedly saving Jeonye to make sure that we accurately paint her as our protagonist with her own agency, with her own abilities, with her own motivations. That doesn't mean that she can't ever be saved, but that does mean she can't always be saved, which seems to be happening quite frequently. All right, so my suggested changes. Number 1, throughout the story, making Junye appear more erratic, nervous, and paranoid as part of her personality, as part of how her character operates. Sleeps. She's a light sleeper. She kind of like always looking behind her. Subtle moves like that, where she's always just on edge to kind of reflect her character arc of coming to trust the coyote and eventually the swamp man, who will paint as a trustworthy figure. In 2.1, in sequence 2.1, perhaps behind the coyote's back, she interrogates the wolf to find out more about the Uriuli blood. She's not completely going with the coyote. She kind of goes against him for a little bit here in this scene, and kind of in an act of self-preservation and personal interest, kind of betrays the coyote in a minor, well, and not in a minor way, but in a less significant way than what she would do later on. In 2.1, I want her to fight the young leader Uriuli alone. The coyote and wolf can still come and have fights, but I don't want them to save her. I want her to fight this monster on her own. And she doesn't have to kill it, because if she doesn't have the ability to kill it, fine. But I don't really want her to get saved. I want her to get into more about her assassin background. So she's kind of revealing more about her personal, emotional baggage that she brought into the story. And why she's so on edge, because I was an assassin, so I've learned that I always have to kind of keep my senses on high alert, because you never know when someone else is gonna come up and attack you or have a target on your back. Now, I don't know about this, but potentially the infection gives her visions that increase her paranoia. Perhaps they're even flashbacks. Just to kind of pepper that in, make that all super visual, kind of continue telling that arc of her story that we can recycle as the story goes on. Now here's probably the biggest change. A midpoint twist that I feel will actually maybe take audiences by surprise. In 2.2, right after the escape scene, for a moment, this isn't the full story, but for a moment, Junye betrays the coyote and sides with the monster hunters. Because they promise her they will give her a cure if you help us. And they paint Coyote as a liar, a cheat, a terrible person, doing more of their propaganda type shit. So she turns her back on the Coyote. The Coyote has not only been betrayed by the people he grew up with, by his brother the wolf, but now also by his new friend / compatriot Junye. That's even more emotional for him. I feel like he's in an even worse way now. So, with that in mind, the Coyote still has his moment in the forest that we kind of maybe touched on. His being very, I'm done with everything. But before he can fully die, the swamp man saves him. The swamp man comes to the forest. She sees him in a bad way, brings him back to the swamp, and heals him. The swamp man kind of gets into his background. The swamp man himself used to be a part of the monster hunting cult, but also grew disillusioned when he realized the truth of their actions and decided that he would go against them and deserts his position, living in the swamp now to find a way to kind of harmonize nature, which is the arc that the coyote sees what he needs to become in the Swamp Man character. It's like, so how do I be more like you? Well, do the things that I do, yada, yada, yada. Jeonye, her dark night of the soul moment, perhaps, if we're touching on paranoia and this kind of almost selfish series of actions that she has, the monster hunters make her believe that she killed Coyote with her own hands. And she believes that for plot reasons, and we'll get into how we can make that believable. Then the monster hunters and the wolf get all the blood they need from her and leave her to die and emotionally spiral. But the coyote and Swamp Man save her and try to heal her as the monster hunters come looking for Coyote. We get back into the third act as planned, but we still make sure that they have emotional blow-ups in those scenes where I think there's still opportunities for these characters to be like, yo, what the hell? But it's like, oh, but no, this is my perspective. It's like, oh, all right, word. And a small note, but no less significant. Give the coyote his dog. Because we said we wanted the coyote to have a dog, and he does not have one. I think we can
forgot all about his dog. Yeah, forgot all about his dog.
We can give him his dog. Yeah, and that is my current piece.
Huh.
It's a lot. It's not an insurmountable hill to climb, but it is a lot, and it's a bit of a shift from our current trajectory. Ladies and gentlemen, people and other people, he's thinking. I might have broke Cole. This might have been the nail in the coffin for Cole's sanity. And depending on his reaction, I will know whether to feel guilty or not. So I'm not gonna say if I feel bad yet.
There is okay. There's literally one thing I absolutely hate about all of this.
Which is?
I feel like she came to America to escape the assassin shit and to stop being paranoid, and maybe it's like to me, I think, which we didn't add in there at all, but to me it was always like she wants to help him at some point because it's redeeming herself from her past. And it's just like, I don't know, this makes her unlikable until Act 3 to me.
Okay.
So I'm not saying we don't do that. I'm just saying she needs to learn to be the good guy. She doesn't know how to do that. But It's like if she's like, this guy's depressed, and she's supposed to be, according to our character sheet of her, she's supposed to be emotionally intelligent. So she knows And we put very small elements in here of that, but we never really did anything with those elements. We just kind of were like, oh, let's just stick that in there for no reason. And then we left it. So it's just like, I think we need to dive more into, she wants her redemption, but she makes those assassin mistakes along the way. I don't know. I want her to be able to kind of... This changes everything. It just changes.
Here's what I'm suggesting. I'm not saying the way we write this to make her an unlikable character.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we need to make sure that she has shades of gray so that she's more complex emotionally, more interesting to follow. But we're not going to give her kick the dog moments here and there. She may have like a couple kick the dog moments, but we want to make sure that she also has her save the cat moments where we can still relate to her as a character. And I want to make sure that we're coming from a perspective of understanding her position, which I feel like if we do this, write this a certain way, that a lot of the audience sympathy will kind of be in her, Jeonye being in like a completely new environment that is completely unforgiving and cruel. And in her mind, acting out of self-interest and self-preservation is the only way to survive in this American Wild West frontier full of monsters. The only way I get out of this is looking out for myself first and everyone else never. But the arc being, if you're able to find a community that you can trust, and that being the coyote, and eventually this man in the swamp, that together you could take down the world. Nothing cringy like that, but the implication being, I lost my train of thought, but you get what I mean.
A second thing that I've noticed, or that I've thought of, is I absolutely 85% disagree with your Yuli thing.
And why is that?
Because if that thing beats the shit out of the coyote, Jeonye has no business fighting that thing by herself and winning. The wolf is the more experienced hunter, and that's the only reason he's able to kind of do stuff. Now, I'm not opposed to all three of them doing more teamwork after she's, like, freed from its grasp. I'm not opposed to giving her more action to take it down, but...
Okay.
That's almost a realism thing. The suspension of disbelief will be shattered if she's just able to do that, because then it's like, why are they needed?
Yeah. My thing is that literally so far in the beat sheet, every time Jeonye does her own thing out of her own volition and start her own plot, literally every time, the only way she gets bailed out is because the coyote comes. And that is a sucky protagonist.
Yeah.
Why would we care about her if she can't get out of her own situation? If we keep saying that she's a strong female lead, which is that we need to actually make her a strong character who's able to do her own things. That does make sense that she wouldn't have the inherent ability to fight this monster on her own, because just like physically no one can. They have to literally team up with trained monster hunters in order to kind of like tag team this bitch.
Like, I think the wolf even struggles with it too. So it's like he's the most experienced out of all of them, and the coyote has to help him take it down after, by shooting him or something.
There's moments in this fight scene where Jeonye is kind of like in a bad spot, and the wolf and coyote kind of like help her out. And then there's also moments where the wolf is kind of like in a bad spot. Coyote and Jeonye help him out in a predicament by making a distraction or throwing a rock at him or something like that. But they're able to help each other. That way, Jeonye isn't just like damsel in distress on the sidelines of this whole thing that
That's
she
fair.
started, by the way, started. She has to be able to fight this own battle. But I will concede, having her do it by herself is probably will break the suspension of disbelief. Having them all do it though in equal, maybe not in equal, but having Jeonye not be completely removed from the plot at that moment will help her character.
I also think we should probably add her doing more in the Fresno Nightcrawler segment.
Yeah.
Because that never really sat right with me. Like, the Yuri I felt sat pretty much right with me because it just felt correct to me. The Fresno Nightcrawler, she's kind of learned a little bit about fighting monsters. She's fought some throwaway monsters, but also, like, she's now just fought, like, a legendary, ginormous thing. So the Fresno Nightcrawler is almost a step down from the Yuri. But I think she should do more there.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to create a balance of she's in pain with this monster transformation thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, she does technically do some action in, well, of course, this would, with your idea, this would all change, but in the HQ, she is doing a good amount of action there, which I'm not sure how right that sits with me, because she just had a ritual done on her, but, this changes even the setup to our sequel, because we have to figure out how this fucking rhombus stupid ass crystal thing gets shattered again, or we have to come up with an entirely new thing.
Here's my piece on that. Let's make sure we have a really fucking solid movie before we start making sequel connections and planting seeds for that.
Yeah.
Once we have something that really, really works, then we can go back in like another draft of the script and be like, let's set this seed here for a sequel. Let's put this here, and then. But as far as like the crystals, though, you're not getting any sympathy from me on that. No, fuck that. I don't care. Let's focus on the one that we're currently writing, and then once we feel like, okay, all of this is good, now let's start planting those seeds to make a sequel make sense.
All right.
Then I will retract that statement I just made.
All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
God damn it. This is the second time this has happened to me. It's the second time. You took away Europe from me, and now you're changing the whole fucking thing again.
No, I'm not. What I'm doing is
you're changing a good amount of it.
Like, all the set pieces are the same.
Yeah, no.
Like the progression of things are the same. It's just making one character have more importance because she rightfully deserves more importance in the story because she is our main character.
That's true, I know.
The other suggestion would be the Jeonye is not the main character. Coyote is, and we reshift the perspective on everything. If that's the way, because that's a valid way. I don't like that one as much, but it is a valid way to change the story.
I don't
to make
want to do that
emotional.
either. I don't like killing babies, Braydan. I don't like doing it. Which makes me even more pissed because I know you're fucking right, but I'm just pissed about it.
Coming from a baby killing master, you kind of get used to it. You get desensitized to the violence at a certain point.
I've done it plenty of times.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get easier for me. I've loved all of the babies that I've killed with
that's just
all
a rookie.
my heart.
Rookie mistakes, you know.
No, you have to love it. You have to. Because if you don't love it, then the idea is going to eventually just be shit.
You're right.
So
you should have an internal switch in your head as a writer to be like, I no longer care about this baby, so I'm gonna chuck it off the cliff.
Well, I'm going through all the possibilities in my brain to make sure that this is the correct answer, even though it's more than likely the correct answer.
Which is fine. I mean, you can always rebuke. It's just that if you come with a rebuke, I might come with a rebuke back. And that's what makes great writers, is that we just fucking fight all the time. No, that's not true. That's not true. But having a writing partner that is able to kind of balance you out. While Cole thinks, I'm gonna share some knowledge that I learned the other day. I'm in an interactive storytelling class, so like writing for things like video games, and oh, don't die. And I learned about okay, he's okay. You okay?
Yep, I'm okay.
He's okay. I learned about Bartle's taxonomy of players, which is basically when you make a video game or an interactive experience like a theme park ride, there are 4 types of people who engage in those things. There's achievers who like want to get all the things, like in the video games they're the completionists, that do all the side quests and collect all the things, all that. There's the socializers, who are the ones that just like they want to play in the online mode with their friends and talk all the time, and like they're there for their friends and for the fun of it, and that's what they care about. There are people like Cole. Cole, as a writer at least, I don't know how he is as an actual video game player, but as a writer at least, Cole is an explorer. Cole is an explorer because Cole is concerned with the lore and the world and the story, and like I want to engage in this kind of more linear versions of the story and playing games. But as a writer, I want to build the lore. I want to build these interesting details. He's doing all this stuff with the blood mages and building like the monsters. He's doing all that, and that's a fair clock. I clocked him. Now, there's a 4th type of player in this taxonomy, and I kid you not, the killers, and that is what I am. I'm a killer. In both playing video games and as a writer, the killers in video games are really interested in breaking things, and finding workarounds and kind of fucking with things. And that is true for writing, is that I think we've proven on this show multiple times that I like to throw monkey wrenches into things that probably need monkey wrenches in, but people don't like me throwing monkey wrenches in. Yeah. But the funny thing is, the best, what I believe is the best pairing of creative types is the explorers and the killers, because they balance each other out. They're complete opposites on the spectrum. And in the ways that I'm able to level Cole out, Cole is able to level me out. Because sometimes I don't think about the lore things. Like if I was writing this movie on my own, it would not be nearly as like world intensive, and it would suck because there wouldn't be all this like lore attached, and I wouldn't care enough to think about the blood mage rules and things, which add realism and add flavor that I believe makes the world believable and makes everything feel interconnected. Like I would have thought of that, and my movie on my own would have sucked, hands down. If Cole was writing the movie on his own, well, it still would be set in Europe. So take with that what you will.
It just would have been. It probably would have been a very similar plot, just with not cowboys and not American-based monsters.
Yeah.
And also the characters would have already known each other. But
also true.
I think in all honesty, I probably could have made that work, but I don't think it would have been original enough. I could have built that world out to like and created all the correct reasons for that to work, but it was too similar to a video game that I played. So
I love how I was like, You know what? I can admit that if I wrote this movie on my own as the kind of writer I am, it wouldn't have been good, and it would have sucked. And then Cole's like, I could have fucking done it. It just would have been like it would have been Bloodborne, but I could have fucking done it.
Yeah, I mean, it would literally just be ripping off of something is the problem, which is why that was why so much of that just didn't work, is because it was pretty much just ripping something off.
Which I think is a great starting point. Coming with something that you really enjoy and a world that is already working because it's in a AAA video game. It's like that's a good starting point. Yeah. And you can bounce off of that to take the things that you like and then rework the things that weren't working for you.
Well, so like I'm gonna reference another project. The Night that's like my baby. But it's like
it is his baby.
I created that so that I could parody all of the shit that I love. Like 100%. I have my own version of Bloodborne that I'm working on for that series. So it's just like I parody just the shit I love just in life. And a lot of inspiration is like The Boys and Invincible, which are great TV shows, but not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
So it's just like as soon as I realized that it was gonna be pretty much the same, I guess IP. Mm-hmm. It just kind of I don't want to do that with all my projects. That's what that's why I made The Night, is so I could do that and just kind of like fall in love with all of the things I love again, but in this new world.
Yeah. Right.
Which is why I'm just like, all right, I'm scrapping the Europe stuff. Because if that wasn't the case, I would have fought for that a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get any writing done this session, but that's fine.
No.
We're definitely going to, have some notes here. Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I think in order for this to function better, either I think we need to go back into Act 1 even. You want to give her paranoia. We have to early on show off why there's paranoia. We need to give her. Yes. I'm saying even we go back to her as a little girl, and maybe she was abused in her village, and then we kind of see how she was brought up as an assassin at some point.
Perhaps.
Because I know at least one instance of her going unconscious. There's also an instance of her just walking alone in the desert, if I'm remembering correctly. She's wandering in the middle of nowhere. So it's like we could flash her running away, hearing like some abusive voice in the background, and then when she's unconscious, we kind of see like her like punching a training dummy with her, and her knuckles are bloody, and she's like maybe a teenager, like early teenager, and it's just like we see how hard her upbringing was, and that's it. We don't have to get like much more detailed than that until later on, unless if we feel like it.
Sure.
Otherwise, the entire time,
this is not a comprehensive list.
Otherwise, the entire time, the paranoia is just like, well, why is she so paranoid? And everybody's curious about that. So I think we get that out of the way early on, and we don't even have to go back to it if we really don't want to. We have enough information based on those two little moments.
Correct.
I do really want a big part of her motivation beyond, she wants to live, to be to help the coyote with his emotional issues. I think that I really want that to be a piece of this. She's not good at that. She's never done that before.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, she's an assassin. Assassins aren't therapists.
Very true.
So but I do really want that, and that could even be the reason where it's like, and with the way you've kind of restructured this, the coyote has to forgive her.
Yes.
Instead of the other way around. So I think with those two elements, and then obviously we have to keep an amount of realism within reason, depending on, because obviously she can't be damsel in distress. I absolutely agree with that, and I think we weren't even really thinking about that. We were focused on, well, she's not a hunter. She doesn't know that yet. But then we keep saying yet, and then we're almost in Act 3, and we're still saying yet. So that's kind of our mistake there. So if we can do those things, I think I'm down to pivot in the direction you are wanting.
Okay.
Do you have any issues, comments on any of that?
What I will say is what you said kind of brings up a good point of Jeannier wanting to emotionally help the coyote kind of grow. And would it be a poor assumption to believe that Jeannier sees a little bit of herself in the coyote's position as having kind of grown up in a very similar, not similar, but an environment that is kind of very rigorous and trauma-inducing. And as she gets to know the coyote and his upbringing, kind of is able to empathize and relate to him on that emotional level. And part of her own emotional thing is almost projecting her wishes that I wish someone was able to kind of do this stuff for me to help. But like later on, she's like, oh, I am kind of helping myself because blah, 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 blah. That explanation kind of tumbled at the end. But
that,
yes.
And I think she truly wants to feel like she's redeemed herself by doing something that's good. I think definitely both of those, because she's come from a place where she has probably more than likely killed innocent people, and she is wanting to. That's why she escaped China. She is coming to America to start this new life. She wants to be a good person, and she actually hates herself that she's being thrown back into having to kill again.
Yeah. So her actions aren't just like going into what she knows, like with intention. Her actions are falling on old habits because she has no other choice. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where your paranoia and all of the negative kind of stuff comes in. That's where it fits. It fit, the puzzle pieces kind of fit there, but she has to make somewhat of an effort, and I think that keeps that will keep the good balance with the bad, and that way she's clearly not perfect, but to me that just sounds
a complex character.
It just sounds
still a complex character,
more likable to me.
Yeah.
Whereas if we just pepper in a few of these bad traits every once, like not all the time, but every once in a while, that's still just
creating a balanced protagonist that maybe still skewers a little bit more towards the ambiguous gray side than just like the every hero protagonist kind of is like completely good, which is good, which I think most audiences are gonna prefer that kind of complexity.
I mean, it's like when Owen Wilson played a car in that one popular movie, he was a jerk.
What was that called? Trucks
and fast engines and trains.
Yeah, right.
Not to be confused with that other movie with... Oh, Lord. I don't know.
Are you talking about the Steve Martin and John Candy film?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Boats, and Goats? Yeah.
Yeah.
Boats and Goats. Yeah. That's a great movie. Love that movie.
Yeah. But no, we're talking about the Owen Wilson talking car movie. Because his whole arc is he's a jerk until he learns not to be. That's like the whole thing there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's just like, we're going to kind of do a different version of that. That's just Well, I don't know. That was a
don't-
great movie. It's not like it's more or less interesting. It's just like
I don't know if I like the arc of the movie being compared to Trucks starring Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy.
well, listen, we'll throw in a wow, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, but even Owen Wilson had some great moments. And most of them, it was, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, but it was kind of just him being an idiot was like his better moments at the beginning, and him being kind of just goofy, clueless and goofy, and then that balanced out his jerk moments.
Yeah, because then he had that emotional connection with
The Porsche.
Sully, the blue one. Yeah, Sully.
Yeah, Sully. Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of also continued to level out the character of Thunder McKing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Charger. Or was it a Thunderbird? Or Firebird, sorry. Oh no. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Shout out muscle cars. Anyway.
Shout out. But yeah, leveling out Jeunier's questionable moral moments with an actual genuine emotional connection to the coyote and her trying to genuinely go past her old habits, but exterior circumstances require her, and it continually makes the wrong choice despite her better intentions until her character arc is complete. Her character arc is complete when she is able to kind of shed away all of this baggage that she has and is able to actually take a step back and do what she's been saying that she wanted to do. Basically, her character arc is what is the character arc of the writer's room. Instead of just saying things that she's gonna do, she's gonna actually take a step back and do those things. That's her arc.
That's right, yeah. And, you know, part of that is also me, because originally, when she technically wasn't the protagonist, she was kind of...
Correct.
Before we hadn't developed her yet, so she would have become more as a supporting character, but she was kind of just like, so she'll be the emotional support teddy bear for our European guy as they go into this Britain place, London.
Yeah.
So part of me is just like, I want to just snatch a piece of that and just stick it in here, which I think I originally wanted to do, but I suck at emotional writing unless it's very like, unless that's the plot. I would not. I'm gonna get vulnerable here.
For it, buddy. This is a safe space.
Well, until the comments appear.
No, even when the comments appear. Comments be nice. This is a safe space.
They're just like, cool little bitch.
And I will come and personally beat you the fuck up because this is a safe space.
I'll see those comments and I'll actually just laugh because that's just. But I don't consider myself to be an emotionally intelligent person. I mean, so I have trouble writing some of these moments, which is kind of why it's like I take the lead on like action and some other things, and I let you take the lead on, you know, the more character dialogue, emotional moments. But I'm also trying to learn from that.
Great dynamic.
Like I'm gonna go back to the night. There's a lot of emotionally heavy stuff in that. That shit took me forever to come up with.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know. I just don't, I don't know. Just like I said, I don't consider myself to be an emotionally intelligent person. I'm sure that'll get better as life.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna quote my dad again. I'm 23.
Go for it.
You're an idiot until you're 30. I don't even
Great
know
advice.
who the fuck I am yet. So I'm
Great
just kind of
advice,
like,
yeah.
I'm kind of just like, you know what? It's okay to be where I'm at, but it's good to constantly learn, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. And that's, even before we made this show, we had a writer's room at the, oh lord, it would have been
the unfilmed writer's room.
Yeah, when was that the beginning of this year? Or was
We've
that
been doing it for a lot longer than that?
when did we originally just meet every week without recording? Because we took a break for several months. It might have been 2024, honestly, in the spring.
We kind of started around maybe the end of 2023 or beginning of 2024. Or roughly, maybe mid 2024. I don't know. It's been going on for a while.
Because we did that for
my perception of time is just completely fucked.
Well,
after I had that one concussion, but for me, it felt like forever.
But it's like I wanted to do that because I realized I'm not gonna like I'm working on getting my MFA at SCAD. And I'm not going to change my major, but I do believe that writing is my favorite part of the entire process.
Because it is. It's the best.
Which, I mean, is kind of crazy, but because with that argument, I probably should change majors, but
that's fine.
I think the film major would cover all my bases anyway. But I just wanted to learn from what at the time was my coworker, and I think our friendship developed a lot more beyond what was that called?
I sure hope so.
Oh no. What was that ring called? Where we played basketball? What was that?
Tennis basketball.
Yeah.
Tennis basketball.
Yeah, no, but it was 2 apple boxes. And what was the ring?
We literally called it tennis basketball.
We did?
Yes.
Ah, gosh, my memory.
For a fucker who's so bad at naming shit, you of all people would remember we called that game tennis basketball because we played basketball with a tennis ball.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I was trying to remember what the ring was called that we put on top because we had 3 apple boxes, 2 on the side and 1 on the front.
Yeah, what they call the little barn doors. It was the barn doors of like a 150 watt light.
No. It wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was not. It was a silver.
Oh, it's a speed ring. It was a speed ring.
Yes.
Speed ring. That's it. Yeah.
The biggest speed ring we could find.
Pop up an image of a speed ring so people that are maybe not aware of speed rings are knowing what we talk about.
But yeah, so I think our friendship fully developed beyond our jobs at the time when we started doing those writers' rooms. And then we started this up, and now we're doing these things, and we're gonna write a feature film that's going to be fantastic. And I'm gonna go probably cry after this recording as we, bury this baby that we've just killed.
Maybe at the beginning of the next episode, we can hold a short funeral for this other baby.
Perhaps.
It's okay. Would you, before this episode ends, would you like to just say a few words?
Maybe if we had the romance arc that I suggested way earlier in the season,
absolutely
this
not.
baby might have survived, but it's done. So I'm gonna tie the what am I tying? Stab. Dead. Or you know what? No, it's floating out to sea. I have my bow and arrow. It's lit on fire. Viking funeral.
So, if you enjoyed this if you enjoyed this video, please.
Leave a comment, like or dislike. If you just provide honest feedback with the comments.
Yeah.
If you disliked.
You dislike.
Or if you liked.
You gotta let us know.
If you have ideas on the feature, give us a shout in the comments. Or if you have ideas for sketches and whatever else, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's fine. I'm fine.
It does matter. It does matter.
Yeah. Subscribe or whatever.
Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications when we post another video, which will Saturdays at noon. Stick around, and next episode Cole is going to murder me and end the writer's room, if we can even get to that recording session, if it doesn't happen before.
Nah, I might shave.
Nah,
though.
You can wait. Okay.
Like I might, honestly, I've done that before. That's not crazy. Might. Anyway.
Oh, you weren't gonna finish that thought? Okay.
No, that's it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Yep, we're on other podcast platforms as well. Spotify,
Apple, Amazon. Check that shit out.
Check it out. And make sure you subscribe and whatever and all that stuff, and then
boom,
we'll see you next week.
Boom. We'll see you next week. Before we end, Cole, are you all right? Do I need to send a wellness check to make sure you're okay?
No, what? No, I'm fine.
All right, that's good enough for me. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.